Breaking news, violence in South LA tonight after police say a confrontation with a man with a knife leads to a deadly shooting. I'm Jory Rand.
I'm Michelle Fisher. That shooting happened just before 7 tonight near Main and Colden Avenues. It's still unclear what led to the confrontation, but police say the man with a knife was hit by gunfire. He was taken to the hospital. In the last few minutes, we have just found out that he died. We'll bring you more information as it comes in.
Suspect is dead after a shooting with the Colorado Springs Police Department.
And some of you may have received peak alerts early this morning for a barricaded suspect, and that shelter in place has since lifted. This happened near South Academy in Milton E. Proby.
That's where 11 News reporter Rebecca Gavosden joins us live from now. She's been out there all morning long. Rebecca, what's going on there now?
Kayla and Kasha, it's been 12 hours since this incident occurred, and police are still on scene. As you can see, Colorado Springs Department, they're blocking Deerfield Hills Road right here, and you can see all the crime tape covering all angles of the scene that's being investigated. The Metro Crime Lab is still here, and I did speak to some neighbors off camera that told me that they heard lots of crying, yelling, and gunshots that sounded like an explosion. Now, Colorado's police are officers responded here around 10:30 last night to a suicidal male with a gun. Police say a shot was fired inside of the residence, but other people inside were able to get out safely. More shots were fired into the neighborhood, and police say the suspect came out with a gun, refusing commands to drop the firearm. At least one officer fired at the suspect, hitting him. He was later taken to the hospital, where he was later pronounced dead.
As per CSPD policy, the El Paso County Sheriff's Office will be investigating this officer-involved shooting, and all other investigative updates will come from them. Within 21 days, CSPD will release a significant event briefing video with body-worn camera footage from this incident.
No neighbors or officers were injured or hurt during the incident, and also the suspect's identity has not been released yet publicly, but we will let you know of any more information that we receive as soon as possible with these updates on the investigation. Reporting live in Colorado Springs, I'm Rebecca Gavosden, KKTV 11 News.
Police say they got a call around 8:30 this morning about an armed person at Lehman's at Lawndale apartment homes. Police say 31-year-old Gerald Pinckney had a weapon in plain sight. Investigators say he started walking toward an officer with the weapon, ignoring commands. Police say in response to Pinckney's actions, the officer shot him and EMS was called. Coming home to a crime scene.
It really is disturbing. I mean, I hate that an officer was involved and had to come to the circumstances.
That's what some residents at Lehman's at Lawndale experienced Saturday. One neighbor says for 5 years he's called this place home and just started a family. He says this is not the first time he's seen police in his neighborhood.
The first incident happened in the building next to us, and now it's a building, another building over, so yeah, it's getting closer and closer.
Yellow markers cover the parking lot as investigators try to piece together what happened. At one point, 10 marked police cars were on scene. Police say an officer shot 31-year-old Gerald Pinckney after he flashed a weapon, walked toward an officer, and did not follow commands. Police say Pinckney later died at the hospital. One neighbor says life should be taken more seriously.
It tells me that people really don't care for how mortal they are and how easily their lives can be taken, and that they're not really careful with how other lives can be taken at the same time.
Greensboro police say it is standard protocol for the state to investigate officer-involved shootings. Police say they will conduct an internal investigation to make sure the correct policies were followed. Some neighbors say they just want peace in their neighborhood.
But when you bring in another child into it, and there's gunfire, there's officer-involved shootings, and then there's like another incident, another crime right next to the door, it's a huge issue for me personally.
Police say the officer involved is now put on administrative duty until further notice.
We're still here in Fort Pierce, and it is still a busy scene here. We're at the intersection of Avenue P and North 24th. As you can see, yellow tape is up, blocking off this intersection, and of course, North 24th. Going deeper into the street, what you see is investigators, officers right there. On the other side of that flashing car, the lights there, family members of a man whose body was found in a house. Again, this all started with a call about a man who'd been shot, and then from there, a sequence of events.
My siblings, they say, come back in the house, don't go out there, somebody's shooting.
John lives on North 24th in Fort Pierce. He says earlier today, it sounded like a gun range in his neighborhood.
We hear 4 shots at first, and then next thing you know, there's a boy come running by here, a guy come running by here, And then you hear 4 more shots, like a police chase. I don't know who doing the shooting, here or the police.
The original call for the Fort Pierce police was about a man who had been shot on 24th and Avenue O.
The officers arrived on scene. They started taking care of that particular incident when they encountered shots being fired.
Major Mike Santiago with the Fort Pierce police says several officers followed the sounds of gunshots and came across 28-year-old Bernard Smith on the 1600 block of North 25th Street. That situation ended with an officer-involved shooting where Smith was killed. While checking the area, investigators found 2 more dead bodies, one at this house and another in this one.
What we're looking at right now is 4 victims, 3 of which have since passed away.
One of the victims happens to be a neighbor of John's right across the street from him.
Yeah, one brother up north and just lost his mother about 3 years ago, and he stayed by himself, doing good. Had a bright future ahead of me.
Todd Wilson, WPTV News Channel 5.
We are tracking some developing news out of Milcreek, where police there investigating an officer-involved critical incident.
Fox 13's Scott McCain is live there now to explain what is happening. Scott, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Very limited information available to the media at this point, but you can see behind us, police still on scene. They were first called to this area. We are on 2300 East, which is completely closed right now and has been basically all night long. But initially, UPD officers called to a home. You can see the crime scene tape back there in the distance. Some initial reports of a domestic situation, someone potentially involved with a weapon. Not a whole lot more in terms of detail at that point. But what we do know is not long after they arrived on scene, they did call in the critical incident protocol team. And this is a series of investigative outfits from different police agencies, so you don't have the same agency investigating itself. In this particular case, we're told that it is the West Valley City OICI team, so they have been on scene all night investigating this. We don't have any information regarding a potential victim, if that victim is alive, if they were shot. So we're awaiting some additional details from Unified Police at this point. But yeah, this has been a very long night for officers here, and they have no idea yet when 2300 East will be open, but we expect it probably won't be too much longer now. Again, they have been on scene for roughly 6 or 7 hours at this point. So as soon as we get additional details, we'll bring them to our viewers. But for now, we are live in Milcreek. Scott McCain, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A man with a knife shot by police and a baby unharmed after officers opened fire on a domestic violence suspect. Thank you for joining us on this Monday evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt, and today's shootings happened within hours of each other. Both involved officers from the San Diego Police Department. The first scene unfolded near the Choyas View trolley stop overnight. The second on Morena Boulevard near Friars Road. We have team coverage from both scenes. We begin with ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco. Rachel.
Hi, Kimberly. It all came to an end right near the police department's Western Division, just on the other side of those tracks. Police say the man put a knife to someone's neck, giving them no choice but to shoot. The busy trolley stop remained a crime scene Monday. The body of a man, a knife lying nearby, could be seen from the Morena Bridge. Scarlett Anderson is a USD law student. She lives in the apartment building right along Friars Road and the tracks.
Mostly just the sirens and the helicopter circling above our apartment for hours and hours, and then we finally walked out here and realized that it was a much bigger deal than we thought it was.
Sheriff investigators say it started when a guy walked into the Morena Boulevard Market and asked if he could use a credit card. The woman working said yes, but the man grabbed chips and soda and walked out without paying. The employee tried to stop him, but he flashed a knife. Police spotted the man nearby on Napa Street. Investigators say it looked like he had 2 knives. He refused to stop and started walking backwards. They deployed a taser, but he kept going. Investigators say when he got to Friars Road, he grabbed a bystander and put a knife to his neck. That's when 3 officers fired their weapons. The suspect was hit at least once. They tried to revive him, but he died. No one else was hurt. People who work in the nearby shopping center say they don't always feel safe near this trolley stop.
It can be a gamble. not gonna lie, sometimes it's calm, sometimes people are yelling and causing a ruckus, but for the most part, you don't really get bothered.
Police have not released the suspect's name. There are a lot of people living along the riverbed in this area. They're looking into the possibility that he was one of them. Reporting live in the Marina District, Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
And we begin tonight with breaking news. There's been an officer-involved shooting at an upscale apartment complex on San Antonio's northwest side. It happened just a couple of hours ago at La Cantera Terrace near the shops. At La Cantera, our Stephanie Esquivel just attended a press conference with the San Antonio police chief and joins us now with the very latest. Stephanie.
Well, Darren, we know one man was shot. We don't know the extent of his injuries or what condition he's in, but he's been taken to the hospital. Officers say they were initially called to the complex on an unrelated call. And when those officers arrived, they noticed a car that had been reported stolen. Officers blocked that stolen car in while they responded to the initial call. As officers were returning to their patrol cars, the suspect tried taking off.
When they came back, or as they were coming back, the suspect jumped into the stolen vehicle. And since he couldn't back out of the parking space, he jumped the curb and drove toward the officers, which prompted them to fire their weapons at him.
At this time, we don't know the identity of that man, whether he lived at the complex or if he had a prior criminal history. As more information becomes available, we will continue to update the story. Reporting live on the northwest side, Stephanie Esquivel, News 4, San Antonio.